Life is all about taking chances, trying new things, having fun, making mistakes, and learning from it. A very good evening to all the guests and dignitaries present here. With a great joy, I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to you all. In today's webinar on Leading in Dynamic World, I, Ritika, your host for the day, welcome you all on the behalf of SEMS Lead family. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of my organization. FemLeads is an initiative of SEMS Welfare Foundation which narrates the tales of successful female entrepreneurs with regular workshops and newsletters on women empowerment. Women have not been considered at par with men with respect to opportunities available to them in starting their own businesses. They have provided knowledge of setting up and operating as an entrepreneur and are considered inferior since childhood. Families is a community of women with a motto of engage, involve, empower women with dreams so that they can be successful entrepreneurs. FemLeads has conducted awareness program in digital and financial literacy, digital marketing, career development in various industries like tools and travels, retails, finance, appraisals, handicraft, food processing across states of Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Uttarakhand, impacting the lives of over 1,000 women. The topic of today's webinar is Leading in Dynamic World by the guest Manoj Mata sir. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we are having one of them here today to build this event. Manoj Mata sir is a keynote and a motivation speaker with over 14 years of experience. Sir transforms leaders and managers by upskilling them to lead and thrive in a volatile and uncertain environment of the 21st century. A lot of his solutions are inspired from Asian Stoic principle, which originated when the world was going through the similar dynamic environment. Sir is on a mission to transform 1 million professionals to make them VUCA ready by 2035. With this note, I would like to give my heartiest welcome to our guest speaker, Manoj Mata sir.
Thank you so much, Ritika. And it's so glad to be among so many amazing people from around the world. And on that note, I want to start with a small story. So this weekend, so there was a long weekend in India, and I went on a holiday with my family, like everyone would do, right? And when I went on a holiday, so the interesting thing, what happened was, I was told by a friend that it's going to be hot, and it was mountains. I took that advice without checking online. Like we know that internet is available. I took that advice and went in normal summer clothes. Now, when I entered the train, after 15 minutes, I was feeling cold. When we reached there, again I was feeling a little cold, but somehow I managed when I went down, and immediately it started raining. That's how dynamic things are in the real world. Now I had to do something about it, right? I found a shop, and the shopkeeper said, okay, this is what is the cost of an umbrella and for a few winter clothes that I have available at my shop. So I had to buy that without looking at the second option. Since I was at the train station, I had no other options to explore, and I was not feeling. Although my wife was, smart enough that she carried some winter clothes for herself and for my son, and also my other family members, but I was too adamant about that. And eventually, yes, I had to admit that I went a little wrong. When I came back, I was very proud that okay, I managed to spend a holiday without getting ill, even though I mismanaged. But what happened? Eventually, I fell ill, and I was not feeling well. I was almost having a a viral fever for like the last 2 3 days, and fortunately, just yesterday felt better. So this is how things are now becoming part of our day-to-day life, in the real world. Now, when we talk about real world, we are in an environment which is pretty volatile. How it is volatile? The changes that are happening are at a volatile pace. I'm not talking about just the changes being brought by the government, but there are plethora of external factors which are bringing changes. Now, let's talk about a very simple example. Everyone in the world knows here that we just faced a big pandemic. Who had thought that a pandemic will make sure that the world is shut down for almost 1.5 years, close to 2 years, I would say, right? How many of us have had thought that probably there will be war immediately after this pandemic, which is going to have an impact not just on gas, oil, not just gas, oil, or on a specific country, but globally on the share markets, on multiple at multiple level. I believe there are plethora of trade which happen between big countries and that have had an impact. Now, on that note, we all are fear have a fear that there can be another war as well, which is near, which could be pretty close to us, but everyone is trying to avoid that. These are some basic examples of the volatile changes. Now, what other volatile changes? Sudden crash of market, sudden failure of products, sudden change of rules. So there are a lot of volatile changes which are happening in day to day, and that is what is mostly impacting the leaders in today's world. That is where leaders and corporates are facing major challenges. Why we see startups coming every day, but they're failing on and on. Even though those startups which are sustaining, we see a lot of leaders handing over the charge to the next set because the investors are not satisfied. And to lead, to be a great leader in this leadership in this new 21st century world, which we as which is being faced by volatile changes and the uncertainties, the n number of uncertainties. A few months back, we saw just because of a small personal incident, UK is hosting its election again because obviously the government, or I would say the prime minister, was not, or he lost his respect among people. So because of that, he had to resign. And when new government comes in, new people comes in, obviously there'll be new rules, new challenges, new changes. How many times in the history were these kind of things happening? Now we have meta coming in. We recently got introduced to a new word called meta. Now, how do we know that in few months, or how sure we are that in few months or in few years span, will not be waiting for people to courier us a contract or email us a signed contract? Maybe two people or two companies will meet in metaverse, they will sign a contract, and we'll just have news. I'm sure a lot of you probably might know this example of broker.com. Broker.com is a US based company. They released 900 employees on a Zoom call. So, this leadership changes, these volatile changes and uncertainties are not just part of you as an entrepreneur, but for the managers or for the leaders working under your organization. It's for every leader at every level. They are facing a different challenge. When we talk about hiring Gen Z, now millennials have moved on. They're becoming the new leaders, and we are facing a challenge where Gen Z wants something different from the work culture. We want something, and now Gen Z also have another challenge. They do not believe in promises. There's a lot of challenges when we see HR facing today with so many people refusing to join on the given date or finding the right candidates. So there are plethora of challenges. These are just few examples. With 21st century moving forward, with technology rising, this is going to rise. Now, how my learnings or the learnings which I'm going to share is going to have an impact in this 21st century world. So a similar situation was there during 10 AD and 10 BC and 120 AD. It was called the Hellenistic period. The Hellenistic period was a period when Rome and Greek were ruling the world, when some of the biggest powers as we know today didn't even existed. And the world was uncertain at that time. Although yes, I can compare a lot of things when I come to that period. So that period had a challenge that there were new plagues which were introduced quite often, which was one uncertain challenge. Today, Bill Gates, as he says, that future wars are going to be with viruses. We don't know what is there and what we are fighting in future, and we all know that we have just went through one pandemic. We don't want to face another. We recently know that monkeypox, another virus, is becoming quite popular globally, and World Health Organization has already declared it as an emergency. So those kind of challenges match that period, and that was the period when these ancient philosophers were there. So I'm not saying 100% theories are based on those philosophies, but yes, that combined with the modern day leadership, which are not textbook knowledge. And trust me, if you'll hear me out completely, by the end of the session, you'll be able to learn something new today. As a human tendency, the first thing that we don't do you know the first thing that we do or we don't do? Well, I am a human being, and in 21st century, I might want to control everything and anything, considering that I have certain technologies at my hand. But can you control everything? Can we control everything in anything? Is it possible to control the external factors? I want to go out on dinner tonight. I want to go for dinner tonight, and it's raining outside. Is it possible for me to stop the rain? Change is inevitable, right or wrong, as rightly said. So, what should we do? Well, the great Roman philosopher Epictetus, who inspired one of the greatest kings, Marcus Aurelius, he said we should not control or focus on what we cannot control. So, as a leader, we also need to understand that when there are certain changes, when there are certain amends which are there, our focus should not be on these changes. We should not try to control. We should rather try to focus on what is in our hand. We should immediately move towards the solution. Yes, the mind control, the human action. Aristotle, again, being one of the major and the greatest philosopher or Stoics, I would say. So they were properly known as Stoics because there was a school by the name Stoicism, which was started by Zeno of Zilium, and he is considered to the one who started this philosophy called Stoicism, which is called the ancient philosophy. So when we control everything, as a human nature, as a human tendency, I would want. So let's say I'm time bound. I would want to reach at a particular place by 9, even though there is traffic, even though there is traffic on the road. But I cannot control it. If there is a red light which is not working, or if there is a mess up on the road, I can't do anything about it. As a human, we cannot control it. The best solution in that would be look for the right way. Probably I might open Google Maps and look for a alternate route, right? That is the best solution. So we should always go for the recovery or the changes or the solutions. Another example I want to add here is of Barack Obama. So Barack Obama, when he was trying to contest his second election, in between that, there were certain challenges which were thrown to him. Not really challenges, actually. The opposition had made certain claims about him not being a great leader, or there were certain cases which he should be, which was not ethical, or certain rules which were not ethical. So Barack Obama never answered those questions. He kept on working towards his goal, kept on attending the meetings, kept on putting his word forward among people, kept on doing what he do best. So in an interview, he was asked once, "Would you not like to give people an answer to, or actually your reasoning for everything that have been said or have been told about you?" He said, "No. If I'll focus on that, that is an external factor which is trying to compress me right now. If I'll focus on that, I lose what my target is. My target is to win election. So on a back end, I have told my team to do the solutions wherever possible, to solve them at their own level, while I go out there, meet people and tell them what I can do best. And he ended up winning the election second time. We all know that. So that's how the things have to be. That's what the leaders need to do. Whenever there is a change, we need not get stressed or need not control it. The more we try to control it, we will the things will get out of our hands. We will try to be more stern, we will try to mold things, but it might just end up frustrating us as a leader. So, rule number one, focus on what can be controlled. Do not try to control everything. Go for recovery, go for solutions, go for changes, look for alternatives. Talk to expert. One thing I feel people do not want to do is they want to handle everything on their own. I have mentors. I know when I have to talk about finance, I'll talk to Mr. X. I know when I have to talk about my personal goals, I talk to Mr. Y. I know when I have to talk about my trainings, I'll talk to Mr. Z. So I know my mentors. I have already made a list of my mentors and I talk to them. Find mentors. And even if you feel that you do not have mentors, there are paid solutions available. There are people who are solution providers and that particular situation. If I'm having a financial trouble, obviously it's best to hire a CA who can take us out of that problem. A CA is a chartered accountant in India. I believe globally they have accountancy experts, or you'll have your own level of names for them. Rule number two. So we have done with rule number one. What is rule number two of a leader? Rule number two: calm is contagious. Now you probably might laugh and say, calm is contagious. This person has just told us to not to, focus on what we cannot control, and he's saying calm is contagious. Okay, so in mid of a chaos, even in the war, the army advises its people that the calm is the chaos. So, and that especially from someone coming from someone who's in charge. So in when I talk about people, when they so when they were whenever there is trouble, and when I talk about people, they normally tend to lose their wits and calm. Whenever there is a stressful situation, we tend to lose our wits, we tend to lose our calm. And in a difficult situation, it is the role of the leader to actually install peace. And I'm sure everyone agrees to that. But how calm is contagious here? Now, when we talk about leaders putting in calm, or leaders actually trying to calm down the situation, we normally, what I have observed as well, this is personal observation as well, a lot of modern day leaders try to calm down the situation with force. But a real leader need to lead by example. You need to stand up, step in, do the task, and let everyone watch. A very interesting example I recall. I remember I was when I was in college, among university days, I was hired an intern by a hotel group, and I was working there for I was training there in accounts department for a few weeks. And I remember when I walked into the lobby, so there was this another trainee who came from a hospitality college, and he said that okay, my task is not to clean the public area washrooms. I'm not the one to do it. The F&B director. So I was really impressed with this person. The F&B director at that point of time, his name was Mr. Rajesh Khatri. He came in. He said, "Let me tell you, show you how it is done." He picked up the tools himself, and instead of cleaning the entire public area, he actually showed him how a WC is cleaned. A person at a director level himself showed, and that person had a change of personality. I saw that person change into another person during my tenure. And when I used to meet him after that incident, that person sounded like a real leader because he learned from someone who took charge. So that is why calm is contagious. So calm forced is contagious. Calm with example is not contagious. Rule number three: control the passion. So when we follow entrepreneurship, or when we follow something that we love, we are always told that okay, this is our passion. We should follow our passion, and we should be really passionate about it. But we need to understand there are different kind of passions. So we need to control this passion. Athletes. Now let's take example of athletes. I'm not sure how many of you are fond of wrestlings or this private boxing or UFC. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen or observed, maybe seen advertisements. But normally, what they do is they try to invoke or provoke these guys or their opponents sometimes to actually make them more frustrated, angry, agitated, so that they take up a step or they end up taking up a step in the arena which might cost them the match. That's a planned move. That's very common among sports. If any one of you is coming from a country where cricket is commonly played and is becoming popular, so it is very common among cricket playing nations to even normally try to in football. I'm sure a lot of most of the countries play football, and football is popular everywhere. Even here, we see teams trying to, or the opponent player trying to, just put a little pressure on the other opponent, or trying to just try to create something messy out of it, so that the person gets angry or gets agitated, and the individual takes up a step which causes them the match. Now, provoking is something that the leaders need not need have to do. So, a very interesting example I came across, one monk, Indian monk. His name is Gaur Gopal Das. Few of you might have heard about him. So he told a story that he went to London, and he was traveling on the road and he saw a person talking on the phone. It's a very funny example. And he saw this person talking on the phone and he was very stressed out. And he thought that he'll just go and help him. But he read on his shirt, it said, "Do not disturb, do not disturb." And below that signage of "do not disturb," it says, "already disturbed." So, yes, it might sound a little funny, but that's how the thought process of a lot of people are today. We have to accept the reality in the 21st century, but we need to control the passion. We need to understand the strength is always to maintain or hold on to yourself. We need to focus on our strength. So, rule number three is to control your passion, and not the positive passion, but the negative passion, which is anger, agitation. The best decisions are made in when you are calm, when a leader is calm, when you become a great leader is when you take right decisions, and right decisions come when you think in a sound environment. Even though there is fire in the situation, not literal fire in the situation, take 2 minutes, drink a glass of water, relax, close your eyes. That's what I practice and I do. I close my eyes, think about the happy moments of my life, which help me calm down my passion, and it helps me get the best decisions out of myself. And I did that when I was leading a full sales team for India subcontinent. I did that multiple times during the pandemic. Also, I did that, and which was helpful for the entire organization as a whole. So, you guys, as a leader, need to understand the rule number three, which is control your passion. Third, fourth, looking for teachable moments. We cannot win always. There'll be challenges, there'll be situations, there'll be places, there'll be moments when we end up probably losing or things will not go our way. But leaders don't take these things in a very negative manner. They try to take these things in a very positive manner. They try to make them into a teachable moment. Yes, for once we had a loss, but can we investigate what exactly happened? What were the most teachable or the most learnable things over there? What did we learn from that moment? What all could we understand from that moment, which actually can help us become more better growth leaders? I would say Marcus Aurelius. I remember him, his one incident over there. He when he was young, he actually was so when he was under training, I would say he was not even considered as, so when he was under training and he was young, he was, I would say, teenager. He saw a few pandemics, when not pandemic, I would say, through plagues, because that time there were plagues and bacteria was also as disastrous as a virus in today's modern world. Now we do not consider bacteria as a threat. So he observed how they were handled by his leaders, and He dissected them and figured out what kind of mistakes they made it. He wrote them in his meditations. And when plagues or different situations came into his life, he ensured he made a process out of it. He learned from the mistakes of his past leaders and his past predecessors to ensure that the situation was handled best. Imagine a person who's considered a great leader. He was leading at a time when he was had to face war at two different fronts. His wife was cheating on him. There was conspiracy to kill him continuously around him, and there was plague. So that was a situation when he kept his calm and he looked for teachable moments. Wherever he failed, he made changes. Wherever he failed, he ensured he figured out where all we went wrong, and he could find the solutions. On that note, I want to add my fifth lesson, which is leaders should have range. So when we talk about leaders should have range, if I'm an entrepreneur, I should have basic knowledge. So forget about me. Let's give a very interesting example I want to add here. I remember now is of Winston Churchill. So Winston Churchill became quite popular, even though with his good and bad sides, he is considered to be a great leader. Let's accept the fact he's considered to be a great leader. He led the entire situation when the world was going through a complete change. Yes, open to criticism, complete. So now, what I am talking here is while being prime minister. So while being prime minister, Mr. Churchill wrote 40 books. Can you imagine 40 books? We hardly write one today. He made 500 paintings while being prime minister. I'm telling you, while World War II was going on, while there were revolts all across the world, wherever they had. Yes, it's not just about soft skill, Dejang. I'm coming on to that. What kind of skills onto that as well? Yes, soft skills are very important. Then also he also learned some methodological. He learned he some methodological. I would say methodological. No, some I would say traditional method of of making buildings, putting up rocks. That was his hobby. So he did all this when he was a prime minister. Marcus Aurelius, when he was a king, he used to wrestle as his hobby. He used to do hunting. He used to go to wars. He used to learn fighting. He used to learn different arts. He used to dance. Talk about Warren Buffett. I heard his last interview that Warren Buffett himself keep on updating his knowledge, keep on updating his information. Then I talk about what skills. Now, I recently concluded a book which gave me a very good learning as well. Another addition to this leaders having range was from a very famous author and very famous speaker, Rich Dad Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. So he said one line that we want to spend money on the things that will probably give us pleasure or leisure or money. But how many times have we tried to spend money on educating ourselves? He said when he was working, he was doing job. He used to go sit up and take courses for real estate, for sales and marketing, for even though he was a sales and marketing guy, he used to still take lessons. He used to go and study more about marketing, about negotiations, about plethora of things. He said I did plethora of course he used to spend time with his CAs because he speaks more about finance. He used to spend time with corporate lawyers. He said I used to pay them money to be able to learn things, to be able to learn to do it myself next time, or maybe learn and do it myself. So leaders need to have certain range. Open yourself to range. Now that range does not just mean only the soft skill. Yes, you need to be open towards soft skills, hard skills, but you need to understand. Let's say you are running a business. What skills you should have? I'm not saying you should be a full-fledged accountant, but you should know basics of how to read a balance sheet. You should know what the basics of a balance sheet looks. You should know if you'll float or you'll launch your own IPO in a couple of years in the share market, how it will look, how you will earn profit, how you can earn money from it, and how it will help you, how you can get into angel investment, how you can do crowdfunding, get crowdfunding. These are some basic examples. So we should always have range. How about critical thinking, innovative thinking, complex problem solving? I would say as an entrepreneur, I would love to. I love doing a course on meditation as well because I wanted to keep myself calm. So leaders should need to have range. If you have a range, then you will go to places, your business will go to places, your ventures will go to places. Even if you are into a sector or in a segment which already has a lot of competition, do not worry about it because your learning is going to help you and give you edge, a sound edge. And when I talk about learning, does not really mean that you need to follow your competition. Stop catching your competition when it comes to learning. That's one mistake which see a lot of leaders do. My competition. So let's take a basic example. I am a public speaker, a stage speaker. Should I look at what top public speakers do? Should I look at Grant Cardone? What he did he learn? Or should I look at Dr. Vivek Bindra? What did he learn? No, they had their own learnings. They had their own style. I'll focus on mine. I learned stoicism. I learned philosophy. I learned sales. I learned leadership. That's my part of it. I made my new unique learnings, which helped me. I learned networking as well. Probably I'm not sure how many of them learn networking, but I learned networking as well, which did help me get a lot of good I would say speaking stints. So I'm giving my personal example to make you understand that it's not just about getting or leading or opening to only the skills related to your industry. Probably if you'll go and just learn, let's say martial arts, you'll end up learning great focus. Why do you have to then go and learn a course of procrastination when you get a focus based course by doing something that you'll probably enjoy? This is a very small example. Everything that you learn in life gives you an edge, gives you something new. Now, my next learning on coming on to that is accept changes and adapt to it. Accepting the change and adapting to it. It might sound a little similar to what we said in the beginning, that where I told you that okay, we need not control changes. Yes, we understand we need to focus on what we cannot control. We need to focus on those things. But can we adapt ourselves to those changes? That is more important. So first we need to have an acceptance for change. I'm sorry for my bad throat. I just came out of fever. Okay. Now, when humans are, as I said, humans are meant to grow. Have you ever observed, let's say, if you're walking on a street and you get a small bruise on your hand, our body itself recovers it. It start building it automatically. Within few hours, the small bruise, the blood stop coming out. Within a day or two, it start rectifying itself. You don't really have to actually go to a doctor. If it's a small burn, you might feel a little burn, but slowly and gradually in a day or two, it will start mending itself. That's the nature of our own human body. We can learn from it. We are meant to grow. But what we do is we actually follow the rule, or I would say, we try to stick with the old leaves. Old leaves, as in, so if you see trees, they normally shed their leaves with the change of season. We humans have tendency, we hold on to those leaves, the old leaves. We do not want to accept change. We do not want to adapt. We need to let those leaves go. Those leaves are dead. Let them go. We need to accept new leaves. Every season has new leaves. We can learn from things around us. They give us power. They give us more strength. They give us more value. They give us more parity. So we need to understand that these dead leaves are just going to stick to us and they're not going to give us any good strength. Sometimes it happens with humans as well. Normally during winters, I'm not sure if any one of you has faced that. It is pretty common during for people living in extreme cold. They normally have a lot of shed of skin on their hand. If you'll ever go to places like Canada, UK, Australia, some London, where this normally not Australia, London, when there is a lot of cold. This I've seen people they're losing their skin. A lot of skin they lose. Even our human body has a tendency to adapt to that temperature or that weather. We need to learn from that. We need to accept and adapt. There is a change of rule. Accept. Okay, we can't do anything. We need to pay taxes. Let's see where we can benefit the best, how we can adapt to it. Human tendency is to grow. Human tendency is to go move forward. Even if you leave, it is. I read it somewhere. Even if you leave a human in water, and the person will start floating itself on the water, will not drown. Human body is meant to survive and grow. That's how God has made our body. Yes, it also improves social transformation. Truly said. Like when we visit to new places, we need to adapt to new changes, new languages, new people. Why do we do that? We do that because we need to stay there. We need to grow our business there. Maybe we want to add. Now I'm in India. I might want to go to Philippines and start a new thing. Maybe I want to go to Qatar and start a new project. Maybe I want to go to Thailand and start a new project. I have faced that. I've done that. I've lived abroad. I've adapted to different changes. I've adapted to different cultures. I have done that. Worked with people around the globe. And it actually taught me that when I accept change and when I adapt myself, I can grow faster. I can grow better. And as an entrepreneur, you understand the culture better, the nature or better, you get the solution better. Because we are meant to grow, we get the solutions better. And the last one, a leader leads. Well, you'll say, right, leader is meant to lead. What's new in that? A leader leads. Well, so when we are young, so when we are young, we normally fight with our siblings, right? We normally have this tendency. I'm sure a lot of you would have siblings, and you will memorize how you used to fight for small things. Okay, that's my chocolate. That's my toy. That's my dress. It's common. That's completely fine. That's how kids grow. But when we grow up, do you think that nature will work for us? Do you think that nature in an environment? Okay, someone stole my business. Someone stole my business. Can I go and fight with them? You stole my business. No, I'm a leader. What is the best that I can do? As a leader, I can lead. I can set up example. I can step up and help what best we can do in that situation. What best we can do in that situation. We just need to step up. We need to grow ourselves as good leaders. A leader need to lead with example. Let's say I'm stuck in a situation where a business was important and the business is gone. Of course, there is no possibility to go and fight with them. I need to step up and see where all I can help. Let's say there are a couple of employees in my team who have hired and they're not being able to solve certain challenges. As a natural tendency, I'll go and probably tell their boss, I'll try to scold them. But do I understand why this task is not being done? I need to understand why the task is not being done. I need to lead as a leader. I need to step in and help those guys to first understand why that was not done, what are the challenges being faced, and probably overcome those challenges myself, show them how it is done so that these people can learn. Next time, they will not come to you or they'll not delay the thing. The same thing will be done on time and will be on your table. So leader need to lead. You need to step up. You need to grow and you need to come forward to help. You need to be like a helping hand for your teammates. You need to be like a growth. You like to you need to hold because you are the one who's like a heartbeat which pumps all the blood in the entire organization. An entrepreneur, a CEO, owner of a company, even if it's your partner, they are having challenges. Hold them tight. Yes, if obviously I'm not considering those cases wherein someone is not doing or not performing a particular task because they don't want to. That's a different case scenario. But I'm talking about here that when how we need to hold these hands. And on that note, I want to give you a bonus step here. The bonus rule is no random actions. That's pretty close to me, and I kept it as a bonus part. No random actions. I remember so if there is a sports, there are two sports team competing against each other, and let's say you have best of players in one sports team, but they do not have a plan. See, I'm not saying that everything will go as planned always, but they do not have a plan. But so even with the best of the players, the possibility of losing is much higher, even if they're playing against a weak team. So even if you're going for a small meeting, 15-minute, like I came for this session for 1 hour, I need to have a plan. I need to try to stick to that plan. There'll be changes. Even during my speech right now, there were certain changes. There were certain new examples which I added, which I had to add to give example to explain. But those random actions were very minimum. Winning moments were more because I could hold on to my plan, I could hold on to my flow, I could hold on to my speech. So no random action, never ever. Even if you have an agenda, even if you have a meeting, always plan an agenda. Always, even if you don't want to write down, maybe type it, email, always have an agenda plan. A meeting without a plan, an action without a plan tend to give you a no answer, I would say, or a no result. Uh, I want to here again add a personal example, which is again a part of my random addition to it, because recently recalled this happened with me. So a cousin of mine said that I want to help you get certain speech projects, and he said I want you to come with me. So he said, "What is the?" So I asked him, "What is the agenda?" He said, "We are going to National Skill Development Corporation in India office. They help skill development agencies, and let's go there. And after that, I will take you some places." So I thought the agenda was set. So we went to the first project which he told me. We had a meeting, which of course I had already, which I knew about what they exactly do, but still, considering that he was my cousin and he convinced me, and he was quite adamant. So I agree. He said, "I'll take you to another meeting," which was not fixed. He took me to another meeting in a university. We went there looking for the office, looking for people, could not find. He said, "Okay, leave it." Third place. I said, "Are you sure your meeting is fixed?" He said, "Yes, the meeting is fixed." He took me to the third place. We could not find that person. He said, "I'm busy in a meeting." He had lunch and we came back home. The entire day was wasted. So this is a very small personal example. It did not had a great impact, but in long run, as an entrepreneur, you probably need to understand that these kind of things will have greater impact. So do not take a random action. Even if you need to plan in a short time, 5 minutes meeting, okay, last minute meeting, 5 minutes agenda, take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe write down. What do you want to discuss? What does that person do? What do I do? What do you think that that person can help me with? Or what I can help them with, especially when it's your sales meeting. So, on that note, I would like to repeat that focus on what you can control. Calm is contagious. Control the passion. Look for teachable moments. Have a range. Accept change and adapt. A leader always leads and never ever go for a random action. Thank you so much. Ritika, over to you, please.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. And I request participant, if you have any question, you can type on the chat box.
Really, the best attitude, I would say, considering that, how situations are pretty dynamic, we need to have a little more dynamic attitude towards every situation, because there will be certain things which will come off random. Let's say in a particular area where you have a factory, and you eventually see that that has become a containment, or I would say that a high containment zone, and the place needs to be controlled or need to be closed down for a couple of days. So you need to plan what exactly were the projects. Can you delay the dates? Can you request for certain delay dates? So those kind of attitudes to take certain decisions. Again, I want to add here one example of Marcus Aurelius here. Marcus Aurelius was not really concerned because he was fighting two wars at a particular time, and he knew that that plagues were very common at that time, and as soon as the first plague patient came into his country, he hired the best medical professional, best medical professional at that point of time to actually handle that, to make a plan around it, and to take care of that so that he can concentrate on war. He gave him full leverage. So best attitude is to delegate and to be ready for anything and everything. Be adaptive. Change your decisions at a very quick pace. No, there is one. There was one from Aurelio that world leaders today are so aggressive. Progressive. Yes, I understand, but world leaders are quite aggressive. But you need to understand that aggressiveness is not going to lead you. You need to be very calm. You need to show them, set an example. If you see some of the best winners, why Bill Gates? Why when we talk about the riches of the winners, why we still talk about Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos? Why don't we talk about the new age leaders? We don't talk about them because of the very particular reason they are not very aggressive. They understand Even if you see people like Satya Nadal, who's leading Microsoft, or Sundar Pichai, they're very calm. Even if they have a very calm, aggressive attitude. Aggressive with a calm attitude. Think how aggressive in terms of your overall project should be there, but aggressive as a human individual leader, you should not be aggressive as an overall personality. Aggressive towards approach towards your business should be there. What should you suggest that must be done to cultivate the right attitude a leader needs? Okay. There's no nothing. So okay. So leadership can be learned. There are no specific activities. Although yes, I do particular courses with corporates as well. I'm not sure if you're part of any corporate. I'm not sure. This is Brindet. Okay, so I've done a lot at national and international level. I've done workshops for that. We do teach some activities. There's level 1 for manager, level 2 for senior leaders. But yes, leadership can be built. Right, attitude can be built. But yes, it has to be an acceptance from the people as well. There's no specific activities which can be told in a nutshell. There is a whole process to it. So you can contact SEMS organization in case you keen to connect with me. There
If
is
you
one
have,
question from Morales: should a leader be feared or loved? I think there should not be a fear when it comes to leader, but I think it's not just about love. Leader is someone who should be looked up to, look up to. So if I have to see you, if you are my leader, I should see you as my example. Like my leader was a lady. I still talk to her, even if when I'm in trouble. Even if I'm in random trouble, I'll not talk to any other mentor. I'll talk to her because I know I look up to her as a leader, and she knows that she will not do anything. She'll probably not give me any technical suggestions. Only she will do is she'll motivate me that you can do it. I know you have done it in the past, and you'll do it in the future as well. You don't have to worry about. Okay, Sakshan, we're ready to take your question, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Thank you
evening.
for the awesome session, sir. Sir,
Thank you.
I do have a doubt. Like
Sure.
everybody is not a self-made or first timer to the entrepreneurship model. They first do some work with some organizations, and in a certain scenario, they face some workplace disputes or workplace problem. Like they are not getting some motivation in some form, and they are not willing. Like how the same will go up.
The only thing is, I understand where you're coming from and what you're talking about. I myself have worked in different organizations, right? And if you want to hear personally, I changed 9 jobs in about 7 years because of the similar reason. But what I realized, eventually, thing was my focus. So when if you have heard about this session, if you have heard about this, if you follow these practices in your personal life as well, you'll automatically become a leader. So understand that you need not focus on the external circumstances. Can you control someone's attitude, Saksham? Tell me something. If there is a person sitting next to you who always cuss you, can you control his attitude? Can you change his nature? So why are you focusing on him? Why are you not focusing on yourself? I know this has happened with me personally. And the day I started focusing on myself, my development, trust me, things changed for me. It happened with me, it will happen with you as. Focus on your own personal growth.
Thank you, sir.
How to handle a person who don't follow leader? Eliza, trust me, if someone is not following you as a leader, that means that person does not see you as a leader. I never in my when people started looking me, it you can say it was a natural tendency with me when I first realized that people look up to me as a leader. Even when I was an executive level, not even reached manager, people start a lot of youngsters, or I would say a lot of even my colleagues used to look up to me as leader. They used to come to me, okay, how can you help me? I realized that it was that leadership qualities, if you'll start adding, people automatically, if you'll set examples for them, then they'll automatically follow you. If you are not following, if they are not following you as a leader, you cannot force them. But yes, you can always set an example, show them how things are done. So there is a difference between being a boss and being a leader. I'm talking about being a leader. So leadership comes with something that where I know that if I'll call 10 people right now who follow me, they'll, yes, they'll follow me. They follow me, they'll obviously listen to me. But if I know there are 5 other people who never followed me, they will not follow me. They will probably give me an advice. They'll probably be friends with me. They might not talk to me, but they'll not consider me as leader ever. Or until unless I do something for them that they so this happened with one of my actually classmates. He and me, we both were working actually in the same company when we started working, and had a very bad mouth. He was and he was always fighting. He had that nature. Few, I would say last year during the pandemic, I helped him. During the pandemic, I helped arrange some blood for him because we were part of some of a club. We were trying to help people around, and I also helped him a couple of things. And this person now looked up to me as a leader. He calls me for every other thing now, every other suggestion. So you need to understand, you cannot force anyone to look up to you as a leader. You need to build yourself. You need to add those qualities and then work towards them so that people start looking to you as a leader. Yes, rule number 4 is correct. Teachable moments. Look for teachable moments. Even if you have messed up, there is mess up. Saksham, it goes for you as well. Whenever you have messed up, write down the situation. Learn. What did you learn? You learn one rule today. I learned that I'll not talk about personal topics or not complain about XYZ things to about my office to this person. Noted. Or in fact, I'll not even talk about office to anyone else. I'll only talk to it with my family. Simple. Keep that rule with you. How will you define empathetic and charismatic leader, sir? Or really, I would say today's world do not require a more charismatic leader. Yes, we need more empathetic leader. If you are a leader, you automatically become charismatic. Trust me. If you are a leader, you automatically become charismatic. People look up to you. They automatically look up to you. You yourself would want to dress up. You would want, when people come up to you and ask you questions. Okay, please, can you tell me about that? See, you guys are asking question. Do I look charismatic to you? It automatically comes from within. That charisma comes from within. Empathy, yes, you need to be empathic in journal also. I would say be empathetic to everyone. Even it's part of my speech today when I said that, when I told what leader needs to a leader leads. So when I say a leader leads, they actually need to be able to, show them, help people, hold their hands.
So, sir, your real life examples were really, really helpful in the whole overall webinar. Thank you so much, sir,
Thank you
for
so much.
making our doubt clear. The webinar was really very amazing. I would like to propose heartiest vote of thanks to you, sir, for gracing today's webinar. Your presence and wise word helps to magnify our cause in best possible ways. I hope all the participants learn a lot with this webinar. I would really like to thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time, and I'm delighted to be the part of today's webinar. A good event never ends in the world. They take only a pause and keep us awaiting for the next. All good things eventually end. I consider everyone as fortunate that they become a part of this webinar, which was full of knowledge, which makes difficult to say goodbye. Thank you so much for cooperating. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Better is not good enough. The best is yet to come. I, Ritika, your host for the day, signing off on a cheerful note. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.